J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, Volume 1, by Interplay has one of the most unnecessarily long titles of any video game I've ever played. I mean, why couldn't it just be Lord of the Rings? This game was released in 1990 and there wasn't many Lord of the Rings games out on the market. And did they think anyone buying this game didn't know who the fucking author was? Anyway, the game itself isn't too bad considering when it was made. The CD-ROM version I have includes cutscenes from the Ralph Bakshi animated version of Lord of the Rings, which was made in 1978.
Ash Naz Dabatulu. Ash Naz Gimbatul. One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness find them.
Alright, we get it, Gandalf. Don't get your ratty wizard panties in a twist. When I was a kid, I bought a copy of this game at a local egghead store. I put a lot of hours into this game, so there's quite a bit I could criticize about it, but I first want to draw your attention to the character portraits. You'd think that the developers would have the common sense to at least attempt to make the characters look like they do in the film, but common sense clearly wasn't required criteria to work at Interplay. I mean, what kind of a crackhead imagined the young Frodo Baggins looking like this? He looks like a 40-year-old with his face smashed in with a hammer. On closer inspection, he looks like Richard Keel. They even have the same haircut. It's not just Frodo. Creative license has been applied to all the characters. I mean, seriously, why the hell does Merry look like a chick with dreadlocks? Are hobbits from Jamaica? I suppose that would explain their obsession with pipeweed, but it doesn't really explain why Pippin has a fucking cowboy hat. Anyway, the game has all the hallmarks of a PC-style RPG. You form a party of characters to go adventuring around the world. PC RPGs aren't quite as popular as console RPGs, so I'll give a little explanation of what this kind of gameplay involves. First, characters tend to have a wide number of non-combat related skills, which you need to do everything from reading a book to picklocking a chest, to climbing, to jumping over a pit. If you don't have any characters with these skills, you're not capable of doing these feats. I'll give you a little demo of what I mean. Here I'm going to use the lockpick skill to open this chest. Of course, you'll also notice Sam going apeshit over there as he tries to enter the room. The AI in this game isn't all that good. Secondly, the plot is driven primarily by events rather than character relationships and growth. The majority of your time will be devoted to completing side quests, and the player is encouraged to explore and do anything they want to do. You can even attack random people. Thirdly, character permadeath exists. Oddly enough, even Frodo can die, although I have no idea how you're supposed to complete the game without the damn ring bearer. Getting back to my criticisms, the whole open-endedness of the gameplay is pretty frustrating. Theoretically, you can interact with the world more than you can in a console game, but only if the programmers allow you to. There's also very few hints on what you can do or where you can go, so you'll spend a lot of time randomly walking around looking for something interesting so you can dig with your shovel or use perception to look around. Bear in mind, this game was made back in the early 90s, before the internet really took off. Places like Game FAQs existed. You're left on your own to figure shit out through trial and error, although what random knowledge you had about Tolkien's book might help you. On the other hand, the developers have taken a lot of creative liberties, so all bets are off. For example, remember this part of the book, where Frodo becomes an eco-terrorist and blows up the local mill to save the Shire from the evils of the Industrial Revolution? Oh, that's because this never happened in the book. There's also a few points in the game that can trip you up because you have to trigger events in the correct order. For example, I found this cave and walked into it, but I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to find this ranger and have him warp me to his cave, and then I escaped from it. If I go in before that event, the cave exit will be closed, making it impossible to continue on, because the ring race will show up and proceed to rape all my characters. Now here's my question. Why did the developers even make it possible for me to enter the goddamn cave if I'm not supposed to enter it before the ranger event? I ended up saving right before the ranger finds me, so now there's no possible way for me to move forward. I have to start the whole goddamn game over again, which brings me to my next complaint. You can only have one save state at a time. Every time you start a new game, it deletes the existing save. Why can't I make more than one save? I've got a whole fucking computer hard drive to work with, but the game designers made it so you can only keep one save state at a time. Every time you start a new game, you delete the existing copy. You just have to. Moving on. In a game like this, you can have the option to ask characters questions. The idea is to type in keywords that will cause the character to tell you useful information, but the overwhelming majority of the characters don't seem to know shit. I'm trying to find this forest to save some kids, but none of the locals can tell me where the forest is. Despite my criticisms, this could be a fun game if you look past its rough edges. There's plenty to explore, but there's not a lot of depth to the gameplay. If you're a die-hard Tolkien fan, you'll probably enjoy it. This ends my review. If you decide to purchase this game, you'll need to run it through a DOS emulator, such as DOSBox. Modern operating systems can't run it natively. Thanks for watching.